Hello, I'm Nathan, better known as CrazyhermitDM. I'll be guiding you through the sprawling landscapes of tabletop RPGs, sharing my views, experiences, and opinions. And joining me on my quest are my fellow adventuring friends, each wielding their own storytelling ability and boundless passion for the community we've come to love so much. As we quest along this road together, I'll be interviewing many from the hobby and community as well, shedding light hopefully on all aspects of what we've come to love so much. Welcome to my podcast, The Hermit's Homebrew.
Hey everybody. So we had a very interesting session. We got Brent here from Langeministudios at Instagram, as well as Kilk from TikTok and Twitter. What do you guys think of yesterday's session?
It was interesting. We started off after Toy Bar had freed Surtur from the shield, right? And so it was right after that, right? No.
No. It'd been a little further along. We had just raised Merrick.
Correct.
What? Sorry, you reincarnated our not the NPC, but our traveling NPC Gilvickle, who knew how to raise dead because he's a tinker artificer hybrid thing. Just because he's an NPC and I didn't want to make him too overpowered, because artificer is pretty bonkers. When I actually took him to the PC level and made him on the character builder,
Yeah.
and then Gilvickle raised Merrick because in our setting we use the critical role options, the optional rule of like you make it basically a little skill challenge or whatever of kind of like to kind of help involve the team in your raise and make it easier, or if your team screws you over, makes it harder, unfortunately, and if their rolls aren't that great. But we did raise Merrick. Woo!
Yeah. So when we started, we had just gotten up, right? We had raised Merrick, we had raised Gilvickle. They were both at 1 hit point. Surtur had already walked out, right? Surtur had already walked out and claimed he was back to everybody, and all the fire giants came back.
He went outside, laid his fiery greatsword down, and basically, like dogs that had been in a pound and now they're back to their trainer, they just knelt to him. There's like a handful of ogres and trolls that were there. They knelt to him, and we actually had that in the session where basically he went out there, commanded respect in this blockade that we had mentioned in a previous episode. Just kind of walked in the forge behind him as everybody was kind of talking, and just like he held his first initial court, his royal court, because in our setting, excuse me, Cert had been dead for 470 years,
something like that. Yeah.
I like the setting, right? We brought back an old player, but not in the same character.
No.
I like the way that you wrote that character out.
Which one? Nick's character?
Yeah. I liked how you took Nick's character out, and had like Gilvickle like betray him in essence.
Yeah. So you'd come to find out.
Did Nick know about that?
No.
Oh no!
I am surprised he did not react a little bit differently. But about halfway through the session, you go and talk to Yael, one of
yes.
In Avernus it's Zariel, but in our setting it is Rathgrith. You talk to one of her generals, which I've made her a reverend because she's died, but she's made a deal with Heal to come back. She really wants to fight these aberrations instead of the demons that's in Avernus. It's aberrations in our setting. She makes a deal, and then you come to. I felt like I stumbled as a DM a little bit, honestly, by having that reveal come to Toy Bar, because Toy Bar is very carefree and it comes a little bit apathetic. I feel the twist probably could have came a little bit harder on a different player, just because we come to find out that the monkey paw, because you brought back Gilvickle turns into a high elf, number one. Number two,
reanimation.
Yes, and he turned into a high elf, or because it's a Nordic setting, a light elf. Number 2, he already traded away his apathy to Baba Yaga, which we've covered in a previous episode. So
Empathy.
he's a lot
His
more.
empathy.
His empathy, or yeah. Sorry. Number 3, the monkey paw, which we will get into later in the episode, because I really want to talk about what happened with that. It's a cursed item, basically, that allows you, with the monkey paw, it has 5 fingers. When you came across it, we covered it previously, it had 3 left. 2 wishes already been made. The previous owners figured out that no matter what you wish, there's always a negative result.
Yeah.
Like some sort of negative twist.
But toy bars used to negative results.
Yeah. So Gilvickle, the negative result of bringing him back, especially as a high elf, well, maybe not because of his species, but bringing him back, and with a negative connotation, he no longer wanted to adventure with the group at the table. And he wanted to actually side with the enemy, because he was a previous NPC from a previous campaign, and so was Rathgrith. And we covered that in a previous episode, that she just slid into the Descent to Avernus book. We won't get too much into that.
Well, I'm sure we'll figure it out later, all her stuff, once we start actually getting to the point where we're meeting her.
Yeah. Oh, and Merrick has a really detailed backstory of her, because there was a book called The Last Ride of the Void Riders, which a previous player in our campaign, unfortunately, he had to step away because of professional reasons. But I handed that item to him to kind of help him roleplay. But he never really revealed anything, because I think he was a very stoic, quiet person in real life, as well as he played a character that was as well. So I made sure when he left, left that book.
Yeah, we got that back.
Yeah.
Because that revealed way too many backstory things very organically that I just did not want to give up and reevaluate.
What did he also leave the endless flask?
Yes.
Yes.
I actually
Who's got that right now?
I think I do.
I perfectly stolen that, or not perfectly, but I had blatantly, is the correct word, is stolen that from Critical Role. In the second campaign, Sam Regal's character, not the Goblin Rogue, had an endless flask, and I gave that to the character Rufus, and figured that would be good, because I added the twist to it is it's an endless flask, but because he's attuned to it, he cannot get drunk off of it. And because he's a rogue, it would allow him a role-playing opportunity to kind of shyster somebody to, I'll challenge you to a drinking game for whatever bet. We'll do shots.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna get drunk no matter how many shots I take, but you are, no matter how many shots you take, you could do 12, and eventually you're going to pass out, and it's like drinking water for me.
Yeah. It was really cool. I liked Rufus's character. I thought it was going to be fun. It's unfortunate he couldn't continue.
Unfortunately. But backing off our attention deficit side tangent there with that, back to Gilvickle. Gilvickle didn't want to play with the party anymore, and I sat on that for over the holidays and thought, what's going to be the negative reaction to basically bringing him back. And unfortunately, the one that I felt that there's a lot of secrets that kind of over the 2 campaigns that were left hidden. And I really loved role-playing Gilvickle, but I felt like him stepping away as the party came into their own, and they didn't, they needed him, but they didn't, in capital letters, need him anymore as much, because they were doing their healing now. They didn't need that support character as much, because everybody's starting to realize, hey, I need healing potions, or I need cure wounds, and everybody's kind of coming into their own now that they're level 12, actually. We just started level 12. And Gilvickle, when he revealed himself, had revealed that Nick's character, side note to this, with not too much of a side tangent, Nick had come to me earlier, a couple of days before the session, like, I am no longer feeling my gunslinger. Like, and he hadn't played in a couple of months just because of holidays and family. And, like, I love Nick to death as a person, so I'm like, okay, what do you want to play?
Mm-hmm.
And he's just like, he gave me his character concept, which I won't go too much into. I'm like, all right.
Oh, we'll get into it.
We'll get into it, but I won't now because it's too much of a side tangent. So, like, he rolled up his character. I built it on our character builder on More Purple, More Better, and which is a Patreon I highly, highly recommend. For only $3 a month, for only $3 a month, you can get an amazing PDF character builder.
Oh wow!
Yeah, shout out to him. It's all automated.
Yeah, it's all automated. You put in the stats and all that, and it just it built it for you almost. Oh. That's why I'm more than willing to print out your character sheets, kind of like not micromanage, but like keep an eye on your sheets because I have a printer and I have it and I pay for it. So yeah, Gilvickle revealed all that. Revealed that he had, when you guys were back in Trudeway, actually sold like Elaine, sorry. With the way he worded, with the way it's spelled, it's Elena, but more than once very strongly put, it's Elaine.
He gets really upset about it too.
Yeah.
That's probably why he stopped playing that character.
It might have been. He on top of not maybe feeling it, but he said, like he wasn't feeling Elaine. He revealed Gilvickle revealed that he sold Elaine up the river to the giants that were the raiders that were in that city, and then the very first session, you remember that with all the way back with Trudeway, where you ran into, oh god, I cannot remember her name, but you go into the Singing Elf Tavern.
Yes.
It's in Avernus, and there's a pirate there. It was the episode. It was the session before you started. Unfortunately, Merrick.
That's fine.
You run into this like group of pirates. It was in our first two sessions, and then Gilvickle was their little their capture, and he was meant to just be a cameo, just like, oh, we're linking the two campaigns because it's like for Chase it was supposed to be a cameo because he was the only one that would know. It'd get him a little more invested.
Nick was there for that too, because that's when him and his wife were playing. Because she was playing the rabbit.
The Haragon Bard, which she played that masterfully.
She was so good at it.
I was very sad that unfortunately she was not more invested. But he had that pepper, the pepper box, I think.
Pepper box, yeah.
Pepper box is how you say that. That pistol game. He had that in a box, and he revealed that he had modified his memory at the time that there was a key hidden in the handle, and that was a key that was basically the key to getting to Rathrith's sword or Zariel's in Avernus.
Okay, that's what that key is.
Okay.
So basically, there's a metagame wise, because I know you guys don't metagame, so I don't mind revealing this on the podcast. That basically that key, the tower is locked, unless like you had like Toy Bar, which is he's insanely bonkers with his arcane, or a Rufus who unfortunately has left the party. I guess Tove could too because she has some locking.
Does she have like a plus 10 or something to that stuff?
Yeah.
Her character's crazy.
12.
Yeah, Rufus was 12. Yeah,
Rufus was 12, and she has like she has like a 7 or an 8. It's still very good.
Oh yeah,
but like Rufus like can almost put his hand on a lock and like I know how this goes.
Hey,
I've seen this once or twice before in my life.
Yeah.
Yeah, he goes, I know how this stuff works. But he reveals that, so basically that tower, spoilers unfortunately for you guys, is locked. And that's the key to the door.
Yeah. So, I kind of figured it was a key to something important. And there's like a half a dozen towers running around. So I kind of figured that it would be in either a tower or a dungeon. So not really spoilers too much.
Yeah.
I do agree with you a little bit, Nathan, on when you said that it wasn't as impactful to Toy Bar, right?
No,
I was a little surprised. I was a little surprised when it happened, mainly because like Gilvickle's still supposed to be my friend based off the wish.
Yes.
And I do feel like let's say that happened, but it was him and Merrick. Right?
Yeah.
Merrick would have reacted much stronger to that, especially since he has to like Gilfickle as long as he has that sword on him. So, like for Toy Bar, he was just like, "Well, poison me, paralyzed, and you're running off." It's like, "All right, well, I'm sure I'll see him again. I'll see you later." Like that's pretty much how Toy Bar would take it.
Yeah. And Merrick was maybe the ideal goal. As a DM, I wanted it to happen organically. I didn't want to like push the scene onto anyone. Merrick would be the ideal choice. I felt Rama, with the way Vicky kind of like plays, unfortunately, I feel Vicky is very deer in the headlights most of the time, unfortunately, but she does.
He's getting there.
She does an amazing job considering, and I've told her this personally, like set aside, it's like, listen, when I started playing 15 years ago, you are light years ahead of me.
It just takes some time to understand. Like right off the top of your head, there's 4 things that I want to do, right? So when it's your turn to do something. So as Toy Bar, I sit down and I go, oh, okay, so these are let's say the 4 things that I've thought about. 2 of them are probably really good. 2 of them probably are just like, meh, okay, who cares? So I eliminate those 2, and then I have to figure out what I'm doing with the other 2. And it's been an interesting thing because I'm trying to play Toy Bar very carefree, but like I had to go back to Yael to tell Yael that I completed our side of the bargain, right? I made that an important conversation for Toy Bar. I wanted him to go back to talk to Yael and be like, "Hey, man, I did what you said. Just wanted to let you know, right? I'm a trustworthy guy," and it worked out pretty well, I thought. Because Toy Bar's going to trust Yael regardless, because Yael didn't do anything. Yael upheld their end of the bargain as well. So
felt the NPC that I did not expect to just like come out. Like I had no plans of like I had him not fleshed out whatsoever. Is Chernobog.
Oh, Chernobog, yeah.
Yeah, he's been fun because he's Russian.
Yeah,
he's a
and like I did not like. I've tried to do Russian accents. I don't think I do accents particularly well. I don't think I do voices particularly well. But like that Russian accent kind of just flowed. It'd been a long day anyways. We'd been up. I had worked a 12-hour shift. I'm just like, you know what?
Let's do it.
I'm just doing it. And I based Chernobog after Chernobog on American Gods on the TV series on Stars, which is an amazing TV series for anyone that's listening. I highly recommend it. I highly recommend the book even more. Unfortunately, that TV series got canceled, but Chernobog is an amazing character, and he is very Slavic and Russian, and I tried to play it and give that character justice.
I think you've done a fantastic job with Chernobog so far.
Yeah, absolutely.
And bringing Nick's character in again as a tattoo artist is funny to me because that's that was Xingshi's thing.
Yeah. And that wasn't even Xingshi's thing at first in the previous campaign. That was something like Nick, like I don't even know how many episodes, like because we played that campaign lasted 45 sessions or 46 sessions, and then I think even before you came in, he was getting into the tattoo stuff.
Yeah,
he came in like session 30-ish.
Yeah, he had just started. Like he could do like basic like +1 tattoos and stuff when I showed up. But it's funny. Remember how we talked about how he loves Zigshi? Like he loves that character. Like that was probably the most favorite character he has ever played in his entire life in any video game, or in any game in general. And it's funny to me that he's basically playing that character again now, but as a monk instead of as a paladin. Or a brute fighter.
Yeah, he came to me with the character Colfax and said, "Hey, I want to play a Blue Dragonborn again." And I'm like, I can't remember if I said, "Are you playing Paladin or Fighter again?" He goes, "No," because he did find that a little bit boring. I like to play a monk. Because he's been playing it on Baldur's Gate 3.
He is playing this character in Baldur's Gate 3 right now, in case you didn't know that, Brent.
Oh no, I had no idea.
So
he didn't tell me that part until we'd actually gotten to the session and all. Like he'd been playing that for a while on Baldur's Gate 3.
Got 30 hours into Baldur's Gate 3 on that character. And that's probably why he's a little more attached to it, right? Because he's playing it as Xingqi's brother.
Which is interesting that when I brought it up to him, he was totally cool with the idea of killing that character. Like,
yeah, killing his former character.
Yeah,
It's like that did throw me a little off when he was talking to me on
Yeah.
Discord about it.
I kind of asked him, I'm like, okay, well, that's been the goal that I was told by Cert, was to take this character out so that he can get the God Spark of Tesmagosa.
And over the holidays, I had already come up with that idea. It's like, well, Surtur's obviously
the flame, right?
But take out. Well, Surtur has reclaimed his greatsword.
Yes,
he's going to take out. He wants the two biggest players in Muspelheim taken out.
Yeah, so that would be it'd be
Xingqi or
Xingqi
/ Tesmagosa. You find out from Chernobog that Tesmagosa is possessed.
Yeah,
possessed Xingqi, or they're very venom symbiotic relationship.
Yeah, they're sharing a body.
So are we still looking for the eternal flame or whatever it was called?
The creation flame?
The creation?
Yes.
Oh, we are?
You guys haven't really delved into too much or trying to figure that out. You guys ask people, but like you haven't.
That's because that's what Surtur wanted.
That's where Merrick's at right now. Merrick is thinking, okay, Surt's back. Now that he's received his epic destiny as the Sword of Onslaught, and he is now pretty much an avatar of Cert, do we need the creation flame anymore? Because Merrick was told to bring the shield that inhabited kind of like a Horcrux of Cert, bring it to the creation flame to get his body back. Yeah. Well, now that he's out and has his body back, we don't need the creation flame anymore?
It's up in the air as well. And like Rama has a very roleplay heavy like tool on her, basically literally on her head.
With the helm of Kilimanjaro,
of like she could probably figure it out. But at the same time, with the I based it off the Dr. Fate helm from DC Comics a little bit. She sat and meditated and tried to figure out about the creation flame. She could probably figure it out after a couple of meditation sessions. She could also figure out where the sword is after a couple of meditation sessions. She's only had
That's true.
That helmet.
Yeah, that helmet will tell her anything she wants to know, right? Or it's just a helm of seeing. Like how does it work again? Helm of truth, something weird like that.
Kilimanjaro, which is her god, which is ironically Brent's former character, is basically a very Dr. Fate helm. You could sit there for your long rest and like kind of meditate with it, and it will show you visions. But you take 1 point of exhaustion during your long rest. Yeah. That is the like downfall of like basically having such a powerful vision. The agency behind it is like if I feel like I'm not providing enough information or like something goes over your guys' heads, sit there with the helmet and I can give you an answer very organically of how to answer that. Because I have given lots of clues, but there are things that I will admit, maybe I didn't present them very clearly, or maybe I was tired that day and didn't present them as such, and they went over your guys' heads. And there's things that I
should pick up on them.
Or very stereotypically in a D&D fashion, I've presented them to you in a very clear way, and it just went straight over your guys' heads.
Yeah, exactly.
That does happen sometimes, to be fair.
That happens more often than people would like to think.
That's a D&D trope.
Yes. Hey, here's the door. All you have to do is turn the handle and walk through, and all of a sudden, here's the barbarian smashing through the wall like the Kool-Aid Man. And the DM just goes, oh, okay, we're doing it that way instead. Why not just walk through the door? It's right there. And the players go, what door? What are you talking about? So I have the advantage of being both a DM and a player. So with what Nate's talking about, I feel it so much to where I cannot make this clearer for you, more simple. without just giving you the idea or the solution.
Yeah, unless it's that scene in Beetlejuice where he literally has the neon sign above his grave that's pointing at the grave saying, Beetlegeist, Beetlegeist, Beetlegeist.
Just like, seriously, just do it, guys. Oh, why are you doing this the hard way?
But like, so Gilfickle rolled out, right? Then I convinced the IL to come back and talk to Surtur, right?
Yeah, and then you also found out that basically, like, because Nick's been kind of a part-time player, you know, Elaine is not coming back, unfortunately, because he got sold up the river, and then, you know, behind the scenes, obviously, Nick just kind of fell out of love with that character, which I'm more than fine with. Hey everyone, I'd like to thank you so much for watching this episode of The Hermit's Homebrew. We have another episode coming out next Wednesday. Please like, follow, and subscribe to the podcast and support us as we continue to level up and grow.